And so in doing so, Jesus takes these disciples off of their theological and off of their scheduled visits and off of their, we got to get up, and get going. And he says, hey, man, see the world, see the opportunities, see the needs, and be available to them. There's nothing worse than a Christian talking up about how he's a Christian and then not being available. People who are outside of the faith just can't compute that. A story is told of a young lady who had grown up to follow Jesus Christ, but in her early years, she lived in a home that didn't go to church, didn't care about Jesus. They had a neighbor, though, that was a Christian, and this neighbor had on many occasions come to this woman's mother when she was a child and had said to this mother, hey, if you ever need anything, I love Jesus, I want to help out, I want to be available to you. Well, it just so happens that this family, the dad, the husband in it, fell gravely ill. The mother needed to go to the emergency room to be by his side, and so this mother went next door and said to this Christian lady who had offered her services, said, hey, can you, listen, I got to get up to the hospital. My husband's dying. Can you please come over and just watch our kids? This young lady, the child in the story, recounts in her remembering of this that Christian lady looked to the non-Christian mom and said, oh, I wish I could, but tonight's prayer meeting, and I've got to be at the church. But listen, I'll pray for you, and I hope you find someone to watch your kids. This child at the time and woman who tells the story later said that was the last chance that her mom gave Christ. Because in that one act of choosing, the religious, the schedule over enacting love in kindness's form, that one act was enough to turn her off to Christ forever. Did you know that most people don't see us very fondly? I think I mentioned that earlier. And did you know it's because we do that kind of stuff far too often? We're on our way to the church to worship, and we pass by the people who need our help. May that not be said of us. I love the fact that we take a Sunday a year and we just shut church down. We go grocery shopping. For us, no. I didn't get any of those groceries. Anybody get those groceries? No, we just do it so that the community can eat. And it's strategic to me that we do it on a Sunday morning. When everybody expects that, it's so funny. If you drive around on a Sunday morning in Brandon, I think the people out there on a Sunday morning are grateful that all the Christians are at church. Because they can just do whatever they want. Lines are short at Walmart. I'm serious. It's like, oh, the Christians are gone. But then we slam the restaurants at lunch. Don't go to lunch on Sundays. Those Christians are going to kill you. And I'm all for the church gathering together, for the body and having its time to worship, but shouldn't the church be the church all the time? And if it takes up the time that we're supposed to be in church, all the better. Because the world needs to see Jesus through us, and the world's not going to see Jesus through us if we make them come through those doors every time. A lot of them aren't going to darken the door of a church. They think a thing would burn down if they did. But if we take God's kindness, His love out to them, things can change. And so that's the last thing I want to tell you. We need to meet the need. We need to see the need, be available to those things, and then we need to meet the need. Jesus, it says there, look at the verses there in John chapter 9, it says this, that Jesus, seeing the man, he stooped down and he spit on the ground, and he made some mud with the saliva, and he put it on the man's eyes. Ew, everybody say, ew. Would you want that? Anybody here want me to go spit on the mud and make some nice mud pies and then wipe it on your face, Mark? Would you like that? No? You wouldn't like that at all, would you? No, it's kind of gross. So there's got to be a reason behind why Jesus did that. We'll get that in a second. And then he said this to him. He said, go. Jesus is always going to require our faith in the miracles of our lives, just so you know. So he said to this blind man, hey, dude, if you want to see, you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to show faith in me. And so I need you to get up, and I need you to stumble over, because he's blind, don't forget. Stumble over to this pool called Siloam. It's the place that means sent. And wash your eyes out there. Get the dirt out that way. My first reaction is someone wipes mud on my face, I want to get it off. But Jesus says, no, hold it there. Go to this particular pool and then wipe it off when you get there. The guy did, and what's it tell us? He was able to see. Why did Jesus bend over and spit in the mud? I think he was teaching all of us who would follow after him that service, kindness, loving in this way, it's going to cause us to get dirty every once in a while. It really is. We're going to have to go outside of ourselves to sacrifice and to make a difference in people's lives so that we can meet the need. My prayer is that all of us in our love would develop this. We'd all be willing to get dirty. If you go on in that chapter, you'll read about the Pharisees scorning Jesus, ridiculing him and coming against him because he healed on the Sabbath. And Jesus was willing to take their scorn. Bring it. I don't care what you think about me. I'm going to love as my Father loves. And if that requires me to get dirty and to be shameful in the eyes of men, big whoop. Let's do it because it's what's right. Yeah, I love that I live at a place and I go to a church that loves the Lord and wants to serve Him. I love hearing stories like this one that I got in an email this week. It says this: since you were talking about love on Sunday, I just want to let you know about an incident that had life-changing consequences through the love of Jesus being shown in a practical way to an outsider. This writer goes on to say, there's a man in my Grief Share group. Grief Share is a group that meets on Wednesday nights in a ministry we have called Breakthrough. If you're in the midst of a crisis, if you have troubles with addictions, there's just great God-fearing people up here who would love to counsel you through them, and you get to unite with other folks who are wrestling with the same stuff. Happens here on Wednesdays. Love to have you. But this Grief Share group was meeting there on Wednesday nights, and this gentleman was in it. He was a man in my group who needed to move. Since he is on disability, he was at a loss as to how he was going to manage this move. It came to this woman, this Grief Share leader's attention, that a life group here in our church stepped in and decided to move the man. The way they had found out about this guy, because he's not really affiliated with our church in a deep and meaningful way, he didn't ask for help. They found out about this guy because their daughter goes to high school with his daughter, and his daughter shared the need with their daughter, and their daughter passed it on, and the life group said, well, we got to do something. Let's go meet this guy's need. So they spent whatever day it was moving this guy. And when we do that, listen, church, you got to understand that when we take the love of Christ that's in us and we use it to benefit someone else, stuff happens. People change. Lives are transformed by the kindness of God through us. Listen to what happens. This man was so blown away by the practical help and love that was given to him when he made the following statement at Grief Share. He said, if this is any indication of the Christian love that this church has, then I'm going to sign up for that fast track class, and I'm joining this church. How about that mess? She goes on and she says this. She says, I just wanted you to know this good news. And then she writes, apparently, BOMO, which is our little slogan around here, be one, make one. She said, apparently BOMO happened. I'll tell you what happened. The love of God through an act of kindness happened. And when that happens, people change. So, who are you impatient with? What situation are you waiting on? Who is it too easy in your life to be unkind to? As you're thinking through all those people, may God guide us. May He convict us in those ways that we've had a way too short fuse, in those situations where we've gotten way ahead of Him, in those relationships where we've removed kindness. May He lead us to His love for those people and for Himself. May we do it for our betterment and for His glory. Amen. Let's stand and be dismissed. God, we thank You for Your word and its transforming power. We thank You for Your love. And God, I confess, first and foremost, I study Your book and I wrestle with all the things that it teaches in there. But when it comes to, making the rubber meet the road, making the theories become practice, I struggle just like anybody else, God. And so this week in our relationships, this week in our relationship with You even, would You help us to show the love that characterizes Yourself, the kind of love, God, that goes beyond human expectations. And may we love each other patiently. May we love each other kindly for Your glory, for our betterment. And it's in Your name, Jesus, that we pray. And everybody said, If you need prayer, come on down and get it. Otherwise, blessings on you and have a great week.